and thanks for joining us. From a child on the run with special powers to the tale of a woman locked in a cellar with a doomsday prepper, creepiness is the overriding theme in this week's film show.
Open the door. It's okay. I want to come inside.
She looks hurt. She wants me to let her in.
You can't help her. No one can.
We are the last living survivors.
Stand by the window.
Who are you?
Please, don't yell.
And France 24's film critic Lisa Nesselson joins us here in the studio. Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
Now, we're starting with 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's a twisty tale of a woman who wakes up in a bunker with a man who claims to have saved her from a catastrophe. What can you tell us without giving too much away? Is it a thriller, a puzzle, or a monster movie?
I think we should just sit here and be tight-lipped and enigmatic, because this is definitely one of those movies where the less you know going in, the better. I happen to feel that way about almost every movie, but this one is really an extreme case. But I do feel comfortable saying that it is well worth seeing if you were at all intrigued by the images you just saw, Rush. Since this is a tense three-character drama with lots of surprises, and it begins with this startlingly effective series of images in which we see that young woman leaving her what we believe to be her home, and then, as you said, she wakes up and has no idea what's happened to her. A man named Howard is her host, and this is his bunker, and he thinks she should be grateful to be there. So, has she been abducted? Has she been rescued? Can she get a cell phone signal? What exactly is going on? She doesn't know, and neither do we, and that's where the fun comes in. We know that it's creepy in a good way, and if you're in a theater watching the movie, not if you're her. Let's take a look.
That's definitely going on my list to see. We saw John Goodman there. He's in the film. Is he a goodie or a baddie?
It's hard to say, but he is definitely a very, very good actor, and this is a very juicy part. Now, I like to think that we all have some useful skills. There's people who can whip up a delicious meal from, wilted vegetables and a packet of salt. I, for example, know how to splice 16-millimeter film, but if there were a catastrophic event that involved an underground bunker and handling firearms, I'm not sure I would be so good at it, which is why this little gizmo that they gave us at the press screening is very handy to have, and I carry it with me wherever I go from now on. It is a 7-in-1 survival whistle. You're jealous, I can tell. It may look like a useless hunk of plastic, but according to this piece of cardboard, it's got a thermometer and a signaling mirror, as well as a whistle and a magnifying glass, and it also says it's a strangulation hazard, so I guess I could, if I had to, strangle someone or something with it, someone next to me eating their popcorn too loudly, for example, something like that.
It sounds very useful. Well, now we're going to talk about another creepy movie that's out in France. It's Jeff Nichols' first major studio film and his fourth feature, starring Michael Shannon, Joel Edgerton and Kirsten Dunst. The film follows the parents of a gifted child who must protect him from government forces who see him as a weapon, as well as a cult that believes he's a messianic figure. Tell us more.
Pay no attention to what this woman just said. None of that is true. Given how destabilizing the story is, I find it fascinating that this and 10 Cloverfield Lane are coming out at the same time, because they're both stories about a small band of people under incredible pressure to survive. And as viewers, in both cases, we don't know what the hell is going on, only that it's pretty darn serious. Let's take a look.
He's with me. He's my son.
Yeah, well, you ought to watch your kid.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Everything okay? You cannot leave the band. You hear me?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I shouldn't have left you.
No. I'm sorry.
creepy kids. I don't like that. Is it as creepy as it looks?
The terse, succinct answer is yes, you bet. Absolutely. Extremely creepy. Both of these movies, 10 Cloverfield Lane and Midnight Special, are both entertaining and they're genuinely creepy, but as I said, in a good way. And they have fab performances. If you had to say, I would say that 10 Cloverfield Lane goes the distance a little better than Midnight Special. But, you know, we live in anxiety-producing times, and when we're lucky, our popular entertainment manages to coincide and reflect that. For example, right about now, it's very hard to get the recent terror attacks in Brussels out of one's mind, and so that ambient mood that anything could go wrong and probably will. In the 1950s, in movies, we had the threat of space aliens, and in real life, of course. In the 1960s, movies reflected the Cold War. In the 70s, it was disillusionment. And TV and movies have brought us a lot of zombies in recent years, and now with these two films we're tipping over into something else. It toys with our expectations, but in pretty satisfying ways.
Okay, well, as our main theme today is strangeness, next up is a French movie called Evolution. Some say it fits into the category of body horror. Just how strange is it?
It's about as strange as you can get and still make sense. It does have its own internal logic. Very, very creepy. And it starts with this. If you think about it, the way humans reproduce is just kind of goofy. I mean, we have all sorts of ethnic and religious and political differences all over the world. But when you get down to it, everybody, if they want to reproduce, you fertilize an egg with sperm, right? Well, Lucille Hadzililevich presents this captivating alternative in this movie. And it's a sustained visual tour de force, as you can see. Unsuspecting viewers may actually cringe, but the director creates a deliberate, painterly, incredibly bizarre atmosphere that is not soon forgotten. And it's being shown right now in New York as part of the New Director's new film series, which is a pretty surefire arbiter of talent to watch.
So what's going on in the clips that we see?
Funny you should ask. Well, there's a character named Nicholas who's about 10 years old, and while he's out for a swim underwater, he spots another boy with what looks like a red starfish on his stomach. So he runs across the very peculiar dark shoreline to his mother to say, Mommy, this is what I saw. She assures him he didn't, gives him a sort of unappetizing gruel and some medication and says, off to bed with you. There's not much dialogue, but it becomes clear that the town's very cute little 10-year-old boys, they all seem to be about the same size and age, often say things that are true, and the women surrounding them often lie. And we as viewers know something is terribly, terribly off-kilter, but we don't know what it is. Some people will find that frustrating. Other people will find it very interesting, the ambient weirdness. There are large octopus-style suction cups on human bodies, naked women writhing in ecstasy, unsettling medical procedures. The only thing that is clear from start to finish is that the writer-director is in control of every single frame.
Oh my goodness, that sounds a lot to take in. Well, out in France today as well is Remember. It stars Christopher Plummer. I've seen it described as a nursing home escapee looking for belated revenge. Tell us more.
Well, you know, there's been a lot of talk about how unacceptable bullying is. It's not okay to bully people, but it's still okay to bully movies, apparently, going by what some of my critic friends have done when they've been reacted to this film. And also in terms of age, recently there's been a lot of excitement about the fact that Harrison Ford is apparently going to play Indiana Jones again for a movie that's coming out in 2019. And some people have pointed out that, like the rest of us, he will be 3 years older than he is right now. One of the things I love about this film is that it has superb roles for older actors, and older actors are fun to watch. So we have Christopher Plummer and Martin Landau, people I've watched my entire life. Christopher Plummer, you may recall, was Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music, and Martin Landau was a member of the original Impossible Missions team in Mission Impossible. So they were 1960s cultural touchstones. Here they're elderly residents in a retirement home. Both men have European accents, and Landau sends Plummer off on a very perilous mission to track down a Nazi they both knew in Auschwitz. But the catch here is that Plummer's character, who's 90 years old or so, is beginning to experience memory loss, clinical memory loss, the beginnings of dementia. Now, that's been used before in Christopher Nolan's terrific Memento, but here the twist is definitely a surprise. Let's take a look.
Do you remember what you said you would do when Ruth died? I have planned everything for you. You must follow these steps precisely. His name is Otto Wallisch. You must find him. You must kill him.
And the blockbuster release of the week is Batman vs Superman. It stars Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. In the film, Batman takes on the Man of Steel, but as the two superheroes confront each other, a new greater danger emerges. Now, it's getting mixed reviews. Britain's Telegraph is calling it the most incoherent blockbuster in years, while Time says it's so top-heavy with false portent that it buckles under its own weight. Now, Lisa, I know brand new movies don't always impress you if there's something vintage to see like there is this week.
I have to say, I love these characters. I've always loved Superman. I've always loved Batman, but I haven't seen this new one. However, out again in France is the 50-year-old original Batman movie. And the idea that grown-ups, adult men and women went to work every day and actually did the Batman TV show in the mid-60s still cracks me up. I never missed an episode, and that led to this outlandish movie. The Joker, the Penguin, the Riddler, and Catwoman, arch-villains to you. They want what arch-villains usually want, which is, just to control the world, give or take a country. But first they have to eliminate Batman and Robin, and here's something I've always wanted to say on television. They are a fearsome foursome, a fearsome foursome, a fearsome foursome. And I find Batman interesting as a character because he is not actually a superhero. He's just a rich guy who likes to dress up in a weird outfit and make the world a better place. And I should also point out that back in the 1960s, TV shows still had a very strong moral component. Good always had to triumph over evil. Villains and villainesses had to be captured and punished. And so after a lot of craziness and falderall, that is what happens here. And they make the world safe with the help of the bat boat and some dolphins, I believe.
Okay, exciting stuff. Well, we're going to leave you with the original Batman from 1966, which is being re-released in France this week. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Our first full-length motion picture feature in color opens a whole new world of thrills. The big screen gives us more space on land, sea, and in the air to challenge the most cataclysmic collection of super criminals ever. Their minimum objective must be the entire